Hello, dear ones. Father Peter John here, coming to you from All Saints Orthodox Church in Bloomington, Indiana. Christ is in our midst. Today I want to talk about Father Basil Martys. He's a Polish Orthodox priest. He is a Hieromartyr, which means he died a martyr's death as a priest in the church. He was born in 1874 in Poland. His father was a judge, but retired from being a judge and became a priest there in their village. Father Basil was very devout in the church. He grew up loving especially singing in the church. And he made a trip to New York City with his father when he was just 11 years old. He was told there by the bishop that who loved his singing that he would become a priest and he was welcome back in America. Well, when Father Basil went back home to Poland, he never forgot this. He worked toward being a priest. He got his theological degree, married his wife, Matuszka Olga, and was ordained at the age of 26 in the year 1900. A couple of months later, he was sent to North America as a mission priest. Now, he and Matuszka thought they were going to New York City, but en route they received word that actually they would not be going to New York, but they would be going to Alaska. So that's where they went. The living conditions in Alaska were very difficult where they were, especially at that time. They were serving the islands around Kodiak Island, and there were a number of little chapels there. On the island of his main assignment, he succeeded in building a church, and after he left Alaska later on, he appealed to the Orthodox Christians throughout America to contribute toward building churches in and around Alaska and the territory there. So Father Basil and his wife, they served very, very faithfully with their two daughters in Alaska for 6 years. After leaving Alaska, they were sent to Osceola Mills, Pennsylvania. They served there and a couple of other communities in Pennsylvania until they were sent to Canada. And they served in Canada for a time until finally returning to their homeland of Poland. Now, when they got back to Poland, it was after serving 12 years in America. It was just before the beginning onset of World War I. Very difficult time. So they soon had to leave where they were, and their whole family, now with 4 children, had to stay in a one-room apartment or cell at a monastery in Moscow. Father Basil continued to work as a priest and do outreach and teaching there during the war. Well, after the war, Father Basil, they returned to Poland, and Father Basil was assigned as the first ever Orthodox chaplain in the Polish army. He served that post for 25 years. He was very committed to his chaplaincy, and also he was very committed to the idea of there being an autonomous or self-governing Polish Orthodox Church. He was working with Metropolitan George of Poland on accomplishing that. They were on a trip actually to go and have a meeting about this very subject when Metropolitan George was assassinated. The assassin was also aiming for Father Basil, but he was captured before he could pull the trigger. So now, Father Basil continued his efforts toward an autonomous Polish Orthodox Church, and he worked tirelessly until that end was achieved. Also, at the end of his chaplaincy, he and his wife, Matuszka Olga, returned to their hometown and they built their retirement home. They were very thankful to finally be in a place that was peaceful and where they could enjoy retirement, but that wasn't to last for long. They were there 3 years before the Germans invaded Poland. Then Matuszka died during the war, and Father Basil continued to pray. He was cared for by one of his daughters and her husband, until finally, in 1945, just before the end of the war, thieves attacked his house. They broke a window and they came in, and when they discovered that Father Basil was a priest, they didn't just take his stuff. They decided that they were going to torture him. And so that's what they did. They tortured him, and it was awful, and I will spare you the details. But ultimately he died at the hands of these thieves, and is considered a martyr in the Orthodox Church because of what he suffered for the sake of his holy priesthood. It is our hope and our prayer that the life and example and experience of this holy man, the Hieromartyr Basil, will also inspire us to live a life that is worthy of our calling as Orthodox Christians. Through the prayers of Saint Basil, O Lord Jesus Christ our God, have mercy upon us and save us. Christ is in our midst. He is and ever shall be.